It looks like online we have Allison French, Cheryl Hartman, Christina Dewar, Lisa Beckholz, Eric Dixon, Maddie Scott, MCAT, and Melissa Fisher. In 206, we have Commissioner Vero and Slotnick, Carrie Powers, Dawn Hart, Chris Lounsbury, Annie Cathy, Elena Evans, and Griffin Smith.
Okay, any public comment on items not on the agenda? Okay, moving on to the consent agenda. Anything that needs to be pulled out or discussed separately? These are all.
I do not think so. It's all employment agreements, and then there are a couple Big Sky Trust Fund grants that we go to with NEP and Department of Commerce. And those are pretty standard.
Is that your motion?
I would move with discuss consent agenda.
Second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay, Lisa Muskevich with our Health Department PHC Cancer Control Plan.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy Tuesday. Good to see you all. I'm here just to share our traditional chronic disease prevention health program contract with Partnership Health Center and Missoula Public Health. And in this contract, Colleen Huffin oversees the cancer screening program for priority populations in our community. So mostly women or people in poverty. And we've been doing this contract for multiple years. And so there's no surprises this year. It's pretty standard, straightforward. And I'm happy to be here to share it with you all today. So I don't know if you have any questions about the program.
I mean, is there anything highlights you want to share, or how do folks access this, or
through Partnership Health Center and Colleen Huffin, and they do, and Colleen hosts events throughout the year and does community outreach. Not only in, I guess, highlight is this isn't only just for Missoula County, but it is also for Ravalli County residents. So, and it's colon cancer screening and breast cancer screening. So,
thank you. It's just these two cancers, or these
Correct.
two screenings.
Yep.
Well, I would move we continue on with these screenings at PHC.
Second, any
100%.
further? Yes. Oh, yes, and public comment. You can, what's it recommended now to get your colonoscopy at 40?
Is it 40 now?
Is that correct?
I feel like it's 45. It has gone down because they found more colon cancer and younger ages. Yes.
Take care of your
very
health.
technical nutrition message I want to pass on.
Yes.
Don't eat garbage, people.
I try not to, but that's good advice.
Yeah, it's really hard not to. It surrounds us everywhere in every place, and it's cheap and easy and tastes good.
Yes. And yeah, eat whole foods whenever possible.
Thank you.
I would, I guess I made this motion already.
Oh, and yes. Okay. Any other public comment? Okay. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have a beautiful
Eric,
day.
You too. Eric Dixon with the National Wildlife Federation agreement.
Yes, good morning. So on Woodworth Road near the refuse district, we have in the past had problems with beavers building dams at the inlet of a culvert right there. And the National Wildlife Federation has a program where they have some sort of attachment or some structure that they place at the inlets of culverts to prevent or deter beavers from forming dams there, and that is preferable to trapping and either relocating or trapping and killing the problem beavers. So we had a National Wildlife Federation member check with our staff up in Sealy about trying to do something different than trapping beavers. So they suggested this this structure that they can install. They install it for free, maintain it, and it's just an effort to hopefully prevent or reduce flooding on our roads. So it's a pretty simple and straightforward process, but we just wanted to have this official agreement in place.
Wow, they maintain it.
I think so.
That's very nice.
Can
of
we,
the National Wildlife
I'm kind of
Federation.
curious, can we go look at it?
Yeah, it's like I said, it's on Woodworth Road, just below the refuse district. So it's easy
Yeah.
access.
Next time we go to
Yeah,
Philly, we should stop in.
we'll go check it out. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm not sure how visible the culvert is because last time I was up there this summer, I mean, it's just a pond of water, and I don't know if that's because there was a beaver dam in place at the time or if that's just the way it naturally occurs before it drains, but it's a pretty clear standing body of water right on the road.
Cool. Thank you.
Well, I would move to request the board authorize the chair to sign the agreement with National Wildlife Federation.
The comments or discussion? Whoops, I guess I second it. Any comments or discussion?
They're often called beaver deceivers.
Beaver
Oh,
deceivers.
So the beaver gets there and it's like, oh, there's no water here. I'm going somewhere else.
Well, it's the sound of running water and where you bring water into the culvert. It depends on which, type they're using,
So
but
it's
beaver
sound.
deceivers, like a little bit,
So the beaver doesn't hear the running water?
Sound.
Or
So they're trying to
is there
block
anything
the
you
running
don't
water.
know about?
It's actually like a water thing, there's,
Amazing.
but yeah, there's a couple different
How
structures
cool.
associated. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, no, I want to check it out.
That's more than I knew about it. I just know that it was something going in to
We'll-
try
we'll
to
get up
stop
there. We
flooding.
won't be able to find it. The section is so amazing. I don't even know there's any water here.
Okay, all in favor? Aye, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Okay, Elena, you're next, yeah.
Yeah, so on this, it's a non-point source pollution grant from DEQ. It's something we've been working on for a while. It's passed through federal funding. The exciting news is that when we started talking about it, it was just to upgrade a few septic systems up in Sealy Lake. Since that point in time, there's been movement towards a wastewater treatment plant and more planning efforts there. And so prior to signing the scope of work, we broadened it a bit. So there could be potential to spend this funding not just on individual septics, but on other efforts involved with the larger Sealy Sewer Board effort to have a more comprehensive wastewater treatment plan in the area.
So who would make the decision on the specifics of the spending?
So what we would do is work with the project manager at DEQ to ensure that it fits within the scope of this contract. And the contract is 3 years. And so for $230,500. So I've already talked with them about the potential for having it be used for planning for septic connections and things like that. So they're invested as we are in seeing what we can do to help folks up there. And so this, depending upon how that planning effort moves forward, could be used to assist in that.
So some of this money could be used for individuals who have to replace a failing septic.
So what it outlines is like identifying priority areas and disadvantaged communities and figuring out how this money can best be used to ensure that septic systems are upgraded or connected to a wastewater treatment, a community system. So instead of having it very detailed about what that would look like, we put together information about how we would, work on just like a brief plan on how to do it most successfully. And because there's a lot in flux right now, we just have to work with
Sure.
DEQ about what that looks like, because DEQ is working within the guidelines of their EPA grant.
Great. I like the flexibility.
Yeah, so we'll just kind of see where we are and, we'll just kind of check in another couple months about what that looks like. We want to make sure the money gets spent out, but ideally we spend it in the most,
Effective way.
yeah,
Beneficial.
exactly.
Great.
So this one will come to you, Juanita, via DocuSign.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I would that we request the board approve the chair to sign the contract.
Second, any further discussion or public comment? All good to hear. Okay, all in favor? Aye. John Hart for the claim CV 23-146.
Well, let's talk about something that's more important first. You know, the burning question for everybody is, John, how did your race go?
Thank you.
I got you earlier. And just credit where credit's due. I asked you first and then I saw you.
I know, but I mean, I got the microphone now and the answer is pretty fucking good. Griffin, you can quote me on that. My mother see it. It was a phenomenal race. I was well prepared. So there was 750 people that started the race. This is a huge 100-miler. About 400 finished. I was 116th. But more importantly, there were 98 guys in the 50 to 59 age group, which is all that matters.
Yeah.
My age group.
Yeah.
And I came in sixth. Pretty good.
That's
Only one of those guys was older than me and, you know, more power to him.
I'd say what I'm most appreciative of is you came back healthy, happy,
And
fine, smiley.
Yeah.
I remember one earlier where you came back wrecked and you seemed totally fine.
Well, I'll be tired for a few more weeks.
Yeah.
It was a great experience.
Good for you. Good job on the planning and the prep.
And what was the time?
Just a few minutes over 26 hours. Yeah.
Wow.
Can anybody just imagine staying awake for 26 hours?
Okay.
Running, walking, being uphill at night, 26 hours.
Yeah, I did. I walked most of marched. We call it marched for most of the last 10 miles in the dark. I finished just.
Usually typically running in the dark's a bad idea.
It's hard to run in the dark in any
Smash into
event,
things.
but I didn't. I mean, I finally, about mile 90, I told the kid that was pacing me, I just said, we're gonna probably walk it in. But we were still passing people who were,
Yeah.
you know, and we hardly got past. I mean, there might have been a couple people that passed us in that 10 miles, and we maybe passed 5 or 6 people. So.
Were there aid stations along the way, or were you packing all of it?
No, there's aid stations. It was after the last aid station, though, that we kind of started the march. That's all right.
Oh, congratulations.
That's good.
Thank you very much.
Well, and this is
this the
how
final
many
one?
hundreds have you done?
This is the 11th one. My wife strongly suggested that this could be my last one. But we also had our 32nd wedding anniversary last week. And so her and I have a long history of ignoring the other's ideas about how we should behave.
At least you didn't say that would be though.
And so I'll probably do a few more, but I won't make it. I mean, this was a multi-year project. I had, I put a lot of time into getting in the race. And then, you know, this summer, getting ready to run the
It seems
race.
like that really paid off.
And yeah, I think it did pay off. I
Only
mean,
a small blister.
I spent 2 weeks in Colorado, almost the entire time above 10,000 feet. So the race is almost all above 10,000 feet too. So yeah, I was well prepared and I started out, I just had a good race plan and it worked out.
Projectile vomit when I'm above 8.
Pass people all day long. High pass at 12,600. We went over twice.
Went over it twice.
Yeah, it's an out and back course.
Oh, okay.
Which is unusual and kind of cool in its own way too. This is an old iconic race. This is the 41st year that they ran the Leadville 100. It's kind of a top three 100-miler, at least in North America.
What are the other ones?
Oh, Western States and California goes over the Sierras, and that's kind of the national championship. It's the oldest too, over 50 years old. And then, you know, there's some others that you might throw into that mix, but Leadville and Western States are the big ones.
Did you submit some good photos for Carrie?
I sent one photo to
Yeah.
Carrie. I have others, but I mean, there's, it's, that was a nice one, standing there with my buddies at the finish line.
Oh,
Nice.
way to go.
Oh, congratulations. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Very, very happy and satisfied and relieved. All right, so to the less important things, an individual named Spencer Gardner has filed a lawsuit in federal district court here in the Missoula division against Missoula County, our detention facility. The plaintiff is an inmate at the detention center. Also is suing the medical contractor at that we have at the detention center, and some of the higher level employees at the detention center. And the suit involves a perceived lack of adequate dental care. Paul, at some point in time during his incarceration, the complaint was reviewed by a federal judge and in a pre-screening process, and now it's ready to be litigated. And Brian West and Jacob Allington will defend the county. That's essentially what I know. We have the capacity, our office has the capacity and expertise, and we think it's a defendable claim, but we'll see how it goes.
Okay. We have the skills and capacity.
Yeah, then we're good. So I would move that we request the board review and approve the county attorney office to handle claim CB 2346 Gardner v. Missoula County.
Second, any further discussion or comment? All in favor? Oh, sorry.
Nope, sorry, I was just asking you.
Yes,
Oh.
yes, she is.
Okay, aye.
All right.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you.
I was jumping ahead to the last time.
Okay, Adrian.
Make sure Adrian was available.
Are you?
Nope, Adrian is on.
Adrian? Oh,
Adrian is on, so I just wasn't sure.
I don't see her. The-
Must be one of our plus
The
three
emblem.
down at the
Yeah.
bottom.
Yeah, I like the
like
emblem.
this, like
the
a
badge,
shield.
the
It's
shield.
like Captain America.
Who are the plus three? Who are the people that heard my spiel?
Oh, yeah.
Good morning.
Morning.
Congratulations, John. And don't worry, there were no minors in earshot of your report.
Good news.
Well, good morning, commissioners. So what you have before you is a professional services agreement with Debris Tech. Debris Tech is a national firm that handles kind of this monitoring component relative to debris management. So following the severe storm of July 24th, knowing that we were probably going to get a presidential disaster declaration, we wanted to ensure that we were following all of the federal and FEMA guidelines around how we handle debris. We got confirmation that the presidential disaster declaration was approved on Friday around noon. And so all that work, all that pre-work that we had done kind of will pay off, and that we know it will be eligible. But one of the components that is essential to making sure that our contracts that we let to handle the debris, making sure that those are eligible and that everything is above board, is this monitoring component. And so we had an RFP out. There's about 6 national firms that do this debris monitoring. Debris Tech came highly recommended. They actually were awarded the contract for the state of Montana following the Yellowstone flooding event to do the debris monitoring for that event. They are on the ground here today, kind of getting oriented with the contracts that are about to start, so that we can be monitoring from day one. And so we're excited to be working with them and excited to be learning something new about federal regulations relative to monitoring contracts for debris handling. Essentially what this looks like is that every contract that gets let for either hauling the debris that is currently collected around various push locations throughout the city, or grinding and disposing of that debris, as well as any arborists that need to be brought in to remove hazard trees or deal with any of the hazard hangers that still exist. All of that work will be overseen by this monitoring firm to ensure compliance, and to ensure that there is no price gouging, or that, everything is above board. So I will say one thing, in that you will probably anticipate an amendment to this agreement, probably within about 2 weeks. And that's because we don't know yet, what kind of a reasonable not to exceed amount will be until we get a better idea of all the contracts that are going to occur and kind of the timing of what those look like. And so what we're asking Debris Tech to do during this first 2 weeks is to figure out kind of what the burn rate looks like, and then do some projecting so that we can put a not to exceed limit within this agreement.
Great.
Thanks, Griffin. Do you have any questions? It's
Yeah.
good stuff.
Is Debris Tech part of the refundable group for FEMA, or are they kind of on their own?
I'm not sure what you mean by refundable group, but the work that they are doing and the money that we're spending to have Debris Tech do this is an eligible expense in and of itself. Yes.
No
It is
taxpayer
to be
dollars.
To be compensated by FEMA for that work. Yes.
FEMA, not local Missoula taxpayers.
Correct.
Okay. Nothing specifically on this, but are there any other big contracts that have been awarded, maybe like bringing in outside equipment for tree removal?
So part of where we are right now is we have a hauling contract with Greenbelt. They're a company out of the Midwest that does a lot of storm recovery. They are under contract with the city to do hauling from all of the emergency push locations. So all of those early debris sites that are now closed, we will have to haul the debris from those sites to what we're calling our grinding locations. And so that hauling will start on Wednesday. And then on the 3rd, so just after Labor Day, we have a contractor, Terra Firma, who is coming in with their grinding operations, where they will grind and chip all of the debris at the locations that we've identified where that grinding will occur. And then they're going to haul those chips to a final location for disposal. Right now, those locations appear to be a mill in Rexburg, Idaho, and possibly some going to Superior as well. As far as the hazard tree removal within the city, City Parks and Rec and within their urban forestry division has divided the city up into about 6 different zones that we are still assessing what the scope of work is within each of those zones. So then they can let those out for bidding per zone based on the amount of work that we believe to be there. Debris Tech will be assisting us in kind of validating that scope of work in each of those zones as well, so that we can get real tight contracting done.
And then we've had a few more storms since July 25th. Do those kind of play in to this disaster recovery money, or are those separate events?
It gets a little complicated, but if we can, so for example, I think a week ago Monday, we had a pretty significant storm come through with 106 mile an hour winds, again reported up on top of Mount Sentinel, 80 mile an hour winds in portions of the city, not nearly as severe as what we saw on the 24th. But that did result in several trees coming down. We were able to evaluate those trees that came down and determine that they had already been assessed as weakened in the 24th storm, and so those are eligible and kind of all wrapped into that initial disaster. But last Friday we had a very significant storm that came through, largely missed the city of Missoula, but hit the city of Hamilton very hard, as well as the community of Seeley Lake. And that is a completely separate event. But what we're in the process right now, as much as I don't want this to happen from the scale and scope of things, but we're in the process right now of determining if the totality of that storm on Friday would necessitate its own declaration. In Missoula County alone, I don't believe that we would get there, but when we couple that with Ravalli Electric Co-op, the City of Hamilton, Flathead Electric Co-op, Missoula Electric Co-op, we might be close. And so that's what we're working on in the next 24 to 48 hours, is trying to get our arms around what is the totality of that damage, so that if there is an opportunity to be tracking that as a separate potential disaster declaration, that we don't miss that opportunity. Right now, go ahead.
That would have to come through the commissioners as well for approval, or someone would at least have to declare it.
That would have to be declared, and so we don't have enough information right now to warrant that request, but that's something we're tracking really closely, and it would go through the same kind of process, in that we would start with a local declaration, then request a state declaration, and if the totality of the damages met not only the county indicators but the state indicators, which that threshold is just shy of $2 million, then we would again request a presidential disaster declaration. There's about the storm on the 24th. We knew very early on that it was a major storm, and we were very confident that we were going to exceed that state threshold, and so we were tracking that storm essentially from the wee hours of its infancy, ensuring that we were doing everything kind of in compliance with FEMA standards, in anticipation that we were going to get there. The storm on the 25th, the storm on Friday, it's not as clear cut. And so we're still doing our due diligence and making sure that we do things correctly, but we're just not as confident that would happen.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, thumbs up from Griffin.
Yeah. All right, I would request the board approve PSA with debris tech.
Second, any further discussions or public comment? Hey, all in favor? Aye.
One
yeah.
quick question. Annie, I know I sent you kind of last minute this morning a signed copy of that. I'm not sure if that's the one that got routed or not, but either way, we'll take care of it.
It will be the one that's routed. It's in the packet, just waiting for some other approvals to wrap up.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Generally speaking, Adrian, how are things up in Sealy right now?
Generally speaking, pretty good. I mean, I don't say this in a way to disparage either community, but it's a testament to Sealy's kind of resiliency, in that there are pockets of Sealy Lake that are still without power. They had massive trees come down on houses, many outbuildings that were damaged and or destroyed, and the requests for assistance or help just have been relatively silent. We sent some folks up just to get eyes on and try to get kind of an initial damage assessment yesterday, and massive trees up there, as you know, and happy to report that generally people had limbed up the trees, bucked them into firewood rounds, and made their own burn piles. So we're working with the community council up there, as well as Shane Stack and I have chatted multiple times around kind of what are the needs for debris kind of handling and or site processing up there. And we're still just trying to evaluate that. We've been in conversations with the Forest Service, Quinn Carver up there to see if there's anything we can leverage off some of their project work and planned burning. And it's looking good, but it's a little early to say we have a definitive plan.
Thanks. Just keep us in the loop.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Any correspondence? Wildfire update. Back to Adrian.
Yeah, so wildfire season took a little bit of a hiatus. The storms that have been wreaking havoc as far as trees and debris have fortunately come with quite a bit of rain and precipitation. As we kind of march through August, our nighttime temperatures will come down, and our recovery from humidities will continue to increase. However, anybody who's been watching the news or who watched that storm come through on Friday, it dropped a lot of lightning, had fire crews chasing fires that were getting up and wanting to move. Fortunately, everything in Missoula County has been caught. But some of our neighbors are still dealing with some fires that are causing them some challenges. So over in Helmville, just over the county line, there's a fire over there that necessitated some evacuation warnings amid some winds. It was getting a little squirrely. And then, of course, the Charette fire down in Ravalli County really got up and moved on Friday with those winds. Largely, it's staying in its footprint right now, but we have some pretty wild weather coming in the next 24 hours that, you know, could be impactful to those fires. And then, of course, on the east side, just some massive fires that wind-driven in, you know, finer fuel types that are just have a huge footprint that are going to take a little while to handle. So we're keeping our eye on things. But right now in Missoula County, things are looking good.
Thank you.
Great.
Upcoming events, invitations.
The Last Best has waste days
Oh,
September
right.
6th and 7th. You can bring up to 50 gallons and it's $10. Please make your reservation online. We're putting bright orange flyers all around town.
So when you say 50 gallons, can it be 50 gallons of one material and then another level gallons of another material?
You know, so the problem is, once you're getting above like one whole drum per household, that's
Yeah.
probably business. And under CERCLA, that falls into a different category. So we have to only take household waste.
Just been accumulating over the years.
I'm-
I hear you.
I'm-
Thank you for that answer.
This is the event where we're trying to clear out the community.
Okay.
Because after this, we're gonna be having people make appointments at our year-round facility, but our ability to meet the needs of the community is limited by that big, very fancy, safe shipping container. And so there are gonna be more limits there because once different bays are filled up, then we're gonna have to call the hauler and it might be a couple weeks before they can get here and we can dispose of that. So this is the best and the last opportunity
The last best.
to really clear out your garage and basement. So tell your friends.
And the year-round facility is at the.
Resource.
It's co-located with Home Resource. They're our partners. We'd love to see more folks joining in that partnership to really get these out of the community, keep sanitation workers safe and keep our sole source aquifer safe.
Nice.
But it's gonna be at City Public Works for our Hats Waste Days.
So I think the way that we're framing it is make the appointment and we'll tell you where to
Oh,
show
sorry,
up.
Never mind. Make the appointment,
This
we'll
is
give you the
6th and
location.
7th.
The 6th and 7th. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Great. Okay, thanks
you.
everyone.
Thank you.